Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in again. I'm getting ready to go outside and do a little bit of weed eating because it's a non-stop here in rural Japan. I want to go ahead and talk about, I guess, some of the benefits about living in rural Japan and buying a countryside home, whether it's an Akiya or not. So, what I want to disclose or reveal is that actually, since I moved here, which is it's been about 45 days or so. Gradually, I've been losing little by little some weight, and my cholesterol has gone down a little bit. And actually, I have managed to lose about 20 pounds, and I attribute that a lot to just being more active, being forced to do just yard work around the house, and so on. You know, my normal job during the day is pretty, indoors. Not much movement, not much activity. So being able to move to the countryside in rural Japan, it just kind of forces you to do that. Unless you want to be that neighbor that is never going to take care of your yard. I guess many of us Americans, foreigners, I think even like in the States, we like to take pride in our yards and everything. So I've always kind of been that way. So I'm looking for something here. If you are, that's where I was going. I was looking for, I'm sorry, let me get sidetracked. I was looking for these little straps that I bought at the military installation. These back in the day, I used to use them as for your boots, for your boot straps. But I have discovered that the chiggers here are pretty darn bad. So even though I have my pants legs all the way down, but I kind of figured I'm going to go ahead and wrap them up and kind of reduce those little chiggers for getting up there and itching my shins and from knees on down all day long. But anyways, if you do not want to take on the responsibilities of maintaining your yard, your rice field, or whatever your case may be, then you shouldn't consider it. But if you want to have that extra yard, the space to do the type of stuff that you really enjoy, plant a garden and whatnot, this is for you. Yeah, but there's also a couple things that you have to keep in mind. It's also, the heat, the cold, you're going to be working outside. So if you have some sort of medical condition that does not enable you to do that, so, really keep that in mind. And one thing that is kind of concerning for me, quite frankly, is that eventually we want to travel. This is something I have not been talking about a whole lot, but we do want to, maybe in the near future, buy an RV or maybe like a camper van and travel around Japan, which that means that retirement, whether I retire early or not. For those of you, yeah, just to disclose, I'm 52 years old. I could kind of sort of retire. And so that is kind of this whole evolution with this Akiya, is that eventually I do want to retire, and my goal in life is to retire early. What is early, I'm not quite sure. No more than 5 years from now, hopefully earlier than that, so that we can travel around Japan and in Asia and in other parts of the world and enjoy while we still can. But something that's weighing on my mind is who's going to take care of my property while we're doing that. So eventually I might have to budget in that I have to hire someone to take care of it. But because if you have seen some of the videos, if not, please go back and see that. So when we purchased this property a year ago, it was way overgrown, and the weeds, the vines, vegetation will take over very, very quickly. Keep that in mind. So that is something that's weighing on my mind right now. I don't regret whatsoever, buying a house, and because, again, those second, third order effects that my health is improving, and hopefully I don't jinx myself. My weight is going down, my cholesterol is going down, probably even my stress level is going down. So those are really those benefits of moving into a place like this. But there's also the other part you have to consider. So all right, folks, so let me go ahead and so it's almost it's in the afternoon. It's a little drizzly, so hopefully I don't get rained in. But I really need to tackle my yard like sections at a time, because you know, again, I come back from work, I only have about an hour or so before it starts getting too dark. Right now it's about to start drizzling a little, but I'm gonna go ahead and take you out there on a time lapse and enjoy. And the fog is coming through in the clouds, so hopefully you get to see some of that. All right, folks, thanks again. Again, thanks for tuning in. If you like what you see, please hit subscribe, thumbs up, share, and all of that. And let's go out there and do a little bit of work. So while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and give a quick shout out to my buddy and former co-worker BH from North Carolina, and kind of tell you I don't know, a stupid little story, because I was just thinking about it while I was mowing the grass. So and he's a subscriber, so BH, if you're watching, please comment. Hi Coco. Yes, I'm working in the rain. My wife just came back home. But anyways, so a while back, I've just gotten back from Iraq. I was on a deployment for 3-4 months or something like that, and then I came back to my house in Pinehurst, North Carolina, with the yard looking just like this, very overgrown because it's been neglected while I was gone. I used to have my favorite working shorts, working clothes. And so I got out there the first time I got a chance to go ahead and clean up my front yard. So my neighbor had a gardener out, but he was working in the backyard and I was working in my front yard. And he had the gardener had his truck out there with all his gardening tools and everything. And so this older gentleman was walking his dogs, and he stopped by. And he asked me, do you have a lot of houses? And I just kind of looked at him a little bit confused. And then I said, excuse me? And he said, yeah, do you have a lot of houses around here? And I immediately realized that he thought I was the gardener because of the truck up front and my attire, and maybe even the little brownness in my skin. I don't want to get into race or anything like that, but it is what it is, right? So I just kind of gave him a big smile and just kind of said, like, nah, only one, this one, I own it. The guy was very, very apologetic and whatnot. But every time I told that story to friends, I just kind of make fun of it. And BH, every time he gets a chance, he comments, and he actually commented if I had a lot of yards, or how many yards do I have here in Japan. So no, BH, only one. However, I have a lot. So if you're wondering, which leads into this, if you're wondering why I'm still using the weed eater for all of this work, is because if you notice, I keep stopping to pick up garbage. There's a lot of garbage. I don't know if people did it intentionally or just flew in here, who knows, but there's a lot of garbage that I need to pick up. And so as I go around, I see a piece of garbage, I pick it up, right? So, and there's also a bunch of little rocks from, I've mentioned it before, but below over here there used to be the older house, and there's a bunch of little rocks. So I'm not quite ready to buy a riding lawnmower, and in Japan they're not very common. I've been debating, probably the next couple of summers or so I probably will, once I get everything cleaned up, mainly because I mean this is very time consuming to do the lower part and this part right here, and then the part over there by the chestnut trees. It can take like 4 different days, 4 different evenings or so. So I like to think that my time is a little valuable. So I think with a nice riding lawnmower I can knock out a whole bunch, maybe good 80%, and then I have to come back out with the weed eater. So just in case you were wondering. And so yeah, sorry about the silly little joke, but I was just thinking about it as I was doing this. All right folks, let me keep on working. All right, one other thing that came to mind right now as I was weed eating is that I mentioned before, I have a love-hate relationship with weed eaters. That's one of the reasons why I absolutely hate them. But actually I'm starting to like this one a little bit better. And so I just wanted to go ahead and give a quick review on this one. And actually I'm not getting sponsored or anything like that. But I will share the purchasing information where I bought it off Amazon, this one right here. So you know, the whole tap and come out type, we just never got along. The blades are great, but they're for a very specific use. If you're going to cut down something more thicker, and then also if you have a lot of rocks, like in my situation, it's kind of counterproductive. So really, if you have a lot of obstacles and stuff like this is something like this is kind of what you need. I bought this off Amazon. It came from the United States, so hopefully it's available in Japan. But basically these little clips come out. You pull this clip and then you could just pull out this little cord and then put it back in there quick and easy like this. I'm wearing my gloves, so it's a little bit hard. Just put in there and just give it a good little pull. They work great, so I don't have to change them as often. If I get into like the rocks and stuff like that, the little cords, they'll run out pretty quickly. But if it's just grass like this, I can last a good little time. This cord, I just bought it from the Japanese store. I think is the 2.2 millimeters, basically stuff that I had left over, and I just cut it to length. Another adjustment I had to do was when you buy a weed eater from the store, most likely this guard is a little bit lower. The little cords hit on it. It's a little counterproductive. So I extended this a little bit back. Now the longer the cords are, the kind of slower it gets. After a little bit, it starts getting a little shorter and shorter, or once you figure out the good length. Folks, I just want to share this experience because I've gotten much better just throughout this summer working with this weed eater. So hopefully that helps. All right folks, that ought to do it for today. Yeah, like I said, I still have like another good day or so to do the lower backyard right here, but actually it's quite refreshing, and a little bit of rain, and much cooler. It has been horrendously hot here lately, so actually feels quite nice. And also it's very enjoyable looking at the clouds and the fog and everything. So if you like what you see, please hit subscribe, like, share, and continue watching our journey here in the rural Japan with our Akiya renovation, traditional Japanese house, and travels throughout Japan. And kind of like I touched on before, that ultimately retire overseas, retire in Japan. And hopefully this helps as you do your research. All right folks, thanks a lot. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.